Have you ever opened a powerful photo editor like DxO's PhotoLab 9 and felt totally overwhelmed by all the buttons and panels? You're not alone. But what if I told you that mastering the interface could make your editing workflow 10 times faster and more fun? If you're new to PhotoLab 9, this short guide will get you comfortable navigating it in no time. We'll cover the basics step by step, so grab your copy of PhotoLab 9 and follow along. The first thing we're going to talk about are the tabs here for Photo Library and Customize. Photo Library is basically your file explorer. This is where you're going to navigate the files on your hard drive to find your photos. There's no catalog here like we discussed in a previous video. This is just straight up you locate your files on your hard drive. Ideally, it's best if you put these in one folder called images or photos and then break them down by whatever makes sense to you. I do it by year. So like right here, we're working on some files from 2025. And as you organize it in something that makes sense to you, it's easy to find the photos. Now, if you're also putting in your metadata in like what we did with Photo Mechanic in some earlier videos, you will be able to search this data from within DxO from PhotoLab 9. It does give you the ability, you can see right over here, these particular photos have a keyword of 2025 and a keyword of Rolex 24 at Daytona. So it would help me narrow down particular event photos. And of course, like if I wanted to, I could put in the drivers of this car, the make and model of the car, and the team name and things like that, just to make it easier for me to find photos later on. But that's what the photo library is. This is how you organize your images. And of course, you can create some favorites up here. Recent searches would show up there. And then down here, you could do like nice little ways to segment the work. So like instead of having the photos in their own folder, like say they're scattered out across 4 or 5 folders, you could gather those images and put them in a project. So like right here, I have one for some film I'm working on. And these are the images that I selected that will go in the video that we're going to be producing on this film. So it allows you to, like I say, itemize, get these things out into their own little bucket, so you can track things and add it to your workflow, so you are more organized. Now then, the Customize tab over here. Now, well, before we leave this, another thing that you can do is like, there's a lot of panels that you can use throughout this whole program. So like right here, if you click on the title of the panel, it'll show it or hide it. If you don't like it there, you can grab it and pull it down to the bottom. Or if you want keywords at the bottom, just move that one down. And you can also customize which ones actually show up. So you could actually hide something. If you never use a histogram, you could just get rid of it and not have it show up. Okay, here is the Customize tab. And in here, we are in what's called the basic view. And we'll talk about that here in a second, but it just gives you some very basic tabs that you would need. So over here, you've got white balance, the exposure, your shadows and highlights and midtones, smart lighting, contrast, your HSL panel, your denoising and demosaicing tab, and the crop tab. And then of course I have DxO Film Pack installed, so I would also have that one here. Now if you go up to Workspaces, you've got DxO Standard, which is what we're on now. This is the basic one. And then you got Advanced. Okay, when you go to Advanced, you get a lot more panels showing up here. Okay, now this you know, a lot of stuff here you get to from these tabs right here. And let's pop back over to the other workspace. And you can see you still got these same panels here in the standard workspace. You've got exposure. So you go right here and you've got exposure, smart lighting, some selective toning. Here's your DxO Clear View Plus, your contrast, and a few other things. Then this next one is color. And here's where you'll set your white balance and your color gamut. And you've got a few other things in here, like some of the film pack stuff, and then your HSL panel. This one right here, the third one over, is your denoising and demosaicing. This is where you'll get to your the Deep Prime AI noise reduction, which is pretty doggone good. So here is the geometry setting, which is where you can set the geometry of the photo and correct it. So like if you've got, you're looking up at a building and photographing it, and you're going to get the converging lines on the building itself. This is where you can straighten that out. FX is where you can add a few things, like you got some vignetting in here, like leaks and texture and frames. I don't really use this occasionally, but the only thing I'll use in here is a vignette. Like a lot of times I'll put a dark vignette, just very, very, very light vignette on the edge, just to focus the eyes toward the image itself. And then of course this tab is the masking tab. This is where you can put in all your local adjustments and do your masking and get pretty fancy with it. Now up here across the top, you've also got some shortcuts up here. Like right here is the cropping tool. And then down here you have your aspect ratio. So you can go down here for a 5:4, which is equal to an 8:10. And set that if you want, or leave it or the original or unconstrained or whatever you want to do. And when you're done making your crop, just hit close. You've also got like a leveling tool up here. And then of course some geometry tools. And then here's some healing. So like if you got a dust spot, you can use that to get rid of it. And of course here's a red eye tool as well. That is the basics of what you're going to be looking at. We've talked about your photo library in the Customize tab, and we've looked at a lot of the tools in the photo library, or sorry, in the Customize tab. Now, one thing you can do is you can customize things. So let's say you just really wanted to have just the basics. You wanted to have exposure, say DxO smart lighting, and clear view. You could just come over here and click this little star beside the ones you want to have. Okay. I normally would have all of these right here just for doing basic editing. Those right there, in addition to the white balance over here. I'm really not going to vary much in the workspace in the color gamut. I'm going to leave it at DxO wide gamut because it's the broadest color spectrum that it has. Then I would go over here and I would put in the denoising part. And then once that's done, that's pretty much all I would want, except for maybe the distortion one right here. If I had those all starred, then you could come up here and hit star, and it would just show you the ones you have starred in each section. Okay, and then once you do that, if you wanted to get real fancy, you could just say save workspace, and when it brings up a little dialog box, we'll type this in and then hit save. Now then, if we go back up to workspaces, we've got this one here. So if we go to Advanced, it's going to show everything that's in the Advanced tabs, for each one of these, which is a considerable amount because you're getting things in here that aren't starred, right? But if we go up to Workspace and then hit Ed's Workspace, now we're back to just the ones that I wanted, which is absolutely what I want. So that's perfect. Now you can also, let's go back over here to Photo Library and go to some digital images. Okay, so here's some images, and I don't know what all is set in these, but if we go to Customize, here's a little trick that if you see this little button right here at the top, Active Corrections, if you click that button, it'll only show you the ones that have been set in DxO. So instead of having, all 100 photos or 100 settings in there, it's just going to show you the ones that actually have a setting that has been put in place. So that shows you how to customize the tool panels and show your favorites and show which ones have been set in an image. Another thing that we can do is just like in some of the Adobe products, if you hit Command or Control Z, depending on if you're on a Mac or a Windows device, it'll scroll back through your changes. So like right here, if we change these highlights and we crank them up to 50, and then we say, that's not good enough, we just hit Control Z and it goes back where we were. So that's pretty handy. So let me take one of these images, and you're getting a basic setup whenever you look at the image. Like if you go over here to Library, and let's look at the zoo images here. Here's another little thing that I want to show you guys too. If you ever go in here and you're in the Photo Library and you click on something and it says there's no images, but you know that you've got images in there, look right here. There's a little filter icon. Just click that and hit Reset. And then there's your images. So we can scroll down through here. Now, what it's doing though is it automatically is setting a default edit on these images for you. And it's very conservative, so it's not over the top. And it gives you, a nice starting point. So, plus, I don't know about you guys, but if I put 1,000 images on, I don't want to sit there and have to look at every one of them and make an edit just before I can start messing with it. It's nice to have it done by default. I used to hate that in Lightroom where I'd have to go through and hit, select all the images, hit auto, and then wait for it to chug through and do an auto on all of them. So we can look at any of these images. Let's see, what do we got here? I have no idea what any of this is. It's been a while since I looked at them. But right here, if we go up and look at it, we can hit this button and see what's been changed. This is everything that DxO actually set in here to give it the basic load. It went very conservative on everything. So, I mean, that's a pretty good starting place. I don't think I would do a whole lot. And if you double click it, it'll zoom into a 1:1 or 100%, so you can see it at the pixel level. And this is with the, where is it at? The standard noise reduction. You can see right here, if we take it off, I don't know if you guys can see it in the video, but it's doing a little bit, not a whole lot, because this was probably shot at a lower ISO. Let's see, ISO 125, so there's not a lot of noise there at all. But that's how to see and get a real good view of what the noise reduction is doing. Just turn it off and then back on, and that will definitely show you. So like right here, I've got it off. If we turn it back on, it's doing an auto denoise based on the image and what it sees as grain plus what the ISO set at plus whatever AI magic it does, right? but it does a very good job. It's probably the best denoising out there right now. I don't think anybody else can touch it. All right, this is also non-destructive editing. Okay, so if you're editing your raw image, you don't have to worry about this, messing up the image. It's all completely non-destructive. All right, that's pretty much the basics of DxO's PhotoLab 9's interface. With a bit of practice, I think you guys will be editing like a pro. If this helped, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more photo tips, and drop a comment below. What features should I cover next? Thanks for watching.